I'm not building walls, I'm building bridges to greatness. Demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here. This is the elevation protocol. Rising above the chaos, taking control. My values not negotiable, my worth is my law. Surrounding myself with excellence, that's what I saw. I'm not building walls, I'm building bridges to greatness. Demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here. This is the elevation protocol. Rising above the chaos, taking control. My values not negotiable, my worth is my law. Surrounding myself with excellence, that's what I saw. This is the elevation protocol. Rising above the chaos, taking control. My values not negotiable, my worth is my law. Surrounding myself with excellence, that's what I saw. I'm not building walls, I'm building bridges to greatness. Demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here. I'm not building walls, I'm building bridges to greatness. Demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here. Bridges to greatness, demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here. I'm not building walls, I'm building bridges to greatness. Demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here. I'm not building walls, I'm building bridges to greatness. Demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here. My standards draw the line here. My standards draw the line here. I'm not building walls.
All right, all right. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. We had a very, very thick episode yesterday, man. I gotta tell y'all, when y'all see Donald Trump on the top of the screen, y'all come running with uh that was wild what we had yesterday. Um, I'm gonna tell y'all we're live 7 nights a week. We do not let the sun rise without going live, but we don't always start on time. We did start on time. Well, about 10 minutes late today. But we started about the same time that we normally do, and we before Eastern Standard Time kicked in, so we doing okay. Um, Typically with our shows, we start off on Sundays with questions and comments from the fans. So during the public forums, your questions about how to do you, I give you guys better insight on, and then if I'm going to answer any personal questions, those going to be done during the private shows with members only. So you guys gotta pay to get details about me. Yeah. Um. However, the rest of the week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Today being Tuesday, we discussed um, business and politics. Yesterday, we spent 4 or 5 hours talking about how politics negatively impacts our ability to make, save, and invest money. And I covered a lot of stuff about Cuba. I covered a lot of stuff about Iran, the Strait of Hormuz, and Venezuela, investment opportunities that you could potentially look into, abilities to rethink the way you spend and save and invest money, different locations. I was just sitting over here thinking that when it comes to that, because we have all those soldiers that are going overseas, that there are less people that are here renting properties because those properties are on standby because the troops are not here anymore, or at least not for right now. And you're going to see the share price of real estate investment trusts going down right now, which is a good thing because the dividends are still the same. It is just that the value of the stock going down, which makes it even better because I just found some of the real estate investment trusts that are hitting like 22 to 25%, where you can really get in there and get you a huge return because you're locked in on any price value that you buy into right now. So if the stock goes back up after the war is over, you would have actually missed out on some shares that would be paying you 20, 25% for the remainder of time that you hold those shares if you buy them and don't sell them. So it's crazy that I didn't think about that when we were talking about it yesterday, but I'm like, damn, I should have covered that. So I'm telling you at the top of the hour. Either have you ever talked about the tax benefits of living in Puerto Rico? I actually covered Puerto Rico last year when both what was it, August or September when we covered Puerto Rico because the tax benefit that used to be there if you move to Puerto Rico as a resident stopped as of January of 2026. So what you're going to have now is a limit, I think like 10% because you had the no tax option before January 26th, but you would have had to start the process 6 to 9 months before January 26th, which means that no later than June of 2025, you would have had to process that in order to get the no tax grandfathered in clause from before 2026. At this point, if you move over, you'll probably get, I do believe, the 10%, which is not the same, but it's still far less than the 22 to 26%, 35% taxation that you get from being in America. uh, but you have to go to Puerto Rico. You have to change your tax residency to Cuba. I mean not Cuba, Puerto Rico, and you have to also like get grounded into the community, buy a house, rent something, set up memberships, get involved with community farms, like really be involved in the community. You can't just go there, and you have to move your bank account there too. So you can't maintain any American bank accounts. You have to really become unilaterally part of Puerto Rico in order to benefit from it. Otherwise, they won't give it to you. So yeah, we did cover that. There's well over 200 countries around the world that are established, and we have covered at least one, if not more than one, every week. So we cover it for the last year and maybe a little longer. So we would have covered more than 52 countries over the last year. Um, so we've covered a lot of them. Well, actually, since 2024, we probably would have covered well over 100 countries out of the 200 plus that's there. So we cover a lot of them. If you're ever concerned about a country that I may have covered, if you go to the channel, to the YouTube channel, so make sure that you guys like and subscribe and mash those reaction buttons. If you go to the YouTube channel and type that country into the search bar, it will pop up whatever topics I covered on that country. So if I cover that country more than once, more than one show will come up. So if you just go to the channel and you type Puerto Rico in there, if I covered Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico will come up. Any country that I covered. I think we've covered Australia, United Kingdom, I think we covered Greece. I know we covered Spain. We should have covered Britain, but if we haven't, we will. Because one of the things that I do before I select a new country to cover, I go back to make sure I haven't covered it at least once. And then after I verify I haven't covered it at least once, I do my research and then I start covering it for this time. Once I've covered all of them at least once, then I'll be covering the ones that I haven't covered twice. And then I'll be covering those a second time and continue to provide you guys with updates on each country that we cover. So speaking of that, because on Tuesdays we give you guys information on how to make, save, and invest money. Um, then on Wednesdays, which tomorrow we're going to be talking about Cuba, but we're going to be giving you guys information about how to invest in different countries around the world, and then we're going to be giving you information on how to live in those countries, and any information that I can give you about certain passports, certain low income investment opportunities for the middle and low class, lower capital individuals, so that you could um get in there, because I mean, more than 75% of Americans make less than 75,000 a year, and there's more individuals that would be looking for low cost investments than there are people who have the capital to put down $500,000 on something while they're still paying for the standard of living in America. So I'm looking for more financially cheaper um, investment opportunities and unorthodox financial opportunities that you guys can get involved in, that are also legal opportunities, so that you can go there and make you some money and be above board. So make sure that you guys follow along with those. Now, not Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we talk about personal development, self development, relationship topics, negotiation skills, socialization, building your brand. We talk about at this point where promotions, raises, retirement, severance packages, and then we give you guys more information and more reasons on why building your 20-year plan is so important, because there's nothing going on that doesn't have a 20-year plan. Because even after we covered yesterday's politics, we discussed how the actions and efforts of Donald Trump is negatively impacting the middle and low income families right now today is immediate deficits, but it is on a broader, long term, seemingly 20-year plan, because even his Trump accounts are designed for 18 plus years to see results in 18 plus years. It's a 20-year plan. Like, he should be dead and gone before his plan comes to a head. And if the people who follow him continue to push whatever it was that he was pushing, whatever his expectations were, will be that. Whether it's good or bad, it'll be that in 20 years. So those of us that are 30 or 40 in 20 years are going to be 50 or 60 and seeing the results of Donald Trump at 50 and 60 years old. And if in our current capitalist regime that we start thinking and behaving like capitalists instead of just voting like a capitalist, we will find ourselves in a position where we're making, saving, and investing money. Because just like I forgot her name, yesterday was here talking to me, and she thought living life to the fullest was more important than investing. And then I explained to her how living a minimalist life, instead of living from dollar to dollar, if you lived a minimalist life where your standard of living was one third of your income, you still would be able to spend 30% on your basic standard of living, 20% partying like a rock star, and invest the other 50% and still make it to a millionaire. And if you and a partner did the same thing, where y'all standard of living combined was 30% of your combined income and 20% of your combined income, and you're still partying like a rock star and taking the other half and investing it, y'all could, if each of you had a $30,000 income, y'all would be living at $20,000 to get, well, that would be $60,000, and y'all be living a $24,000 a year lifestyle, living off of $15,000, where you would still be, or partying off of $15,000, but you still be able to put up the other $25,000 into the bank account and still make yourself millionaires within 15 to 20 years. It's doable at 30,000 per person, where women are looking for $100,000 a year men. So if y'all both have 45,000 a year, or y'all both have 50,000 a year, with the way minimum wage is going up, y'all can find yourselves in a situation where a $30,000 a year standard of living, or a $40,000 a year standard of living, where each of y'all put up $20,000 out of your $50,000, y'all still got 10,000 a person to party with, and y'all still got 20,000 a person to invest with, where y'all can still put away 40,000 a year. Y'all be a millionaire in 10 years. I've been talking about it. So there's no reason why we're broke talking about living life to the fullest, because you could be living life to the fullest and investing for your future at the same time. And if you spend more time in college than what you spent on your future, you could have spent 10 years on your future, and you wouldn't have to work no more. You would be working because you feel like it. He says Trump account is a poor investment. I think that's a devil's advocate opinion, Michael, because the Trump account is only a poor investment if you. So the way the Trump account works is that the account is given an initial $1,000 investment. It is supposed to be at market average. We don't know exactly what stocks are going into it, but it is preferred stocks selected by the government, and we can't guarantee that each child is going to have the same preferred stock. Regardless of the fact, you're expecting it to have somewhere between 8 and 10% return on average, and it's tax deferred. Now, if nobody puts any money into the account, it is not going to be beneficial for the child. $1,000 over the course of 20 years at 10% interest, you're gaining about $100 a year or less over the course of 20 years. You're likely to double your money if you're lucky, right? But if the way some parents would put money aside for college tuition, if they put that college tuition in the child's Trump account, if they put money aside for the child's first car and they put that money in the child's Trump account for their first car, if they are taking extra money that they otherwise would have wasted on bullshit and they put it towards the child's future, that Trump account, 20 years of investing in that child, even if you put in 5,000 a year for 20 years, that child would have plenty of money, plenty of money. And 5,000 a year, that's like 2,500 every 6 months. That's like 1,500 and $1,250 every 3 months. That's somewhere around like 50. That's not 50, like 250 to $300 a month that you would just be putting into the child's Trump account for 20 years. It's doable, and the at the end of the day, the kids would have a future. They would have money to put down on a house. They would have money to put down on their college education so that they wouldn't have to borrow against a stone when they first start out. They would be able to use it to start up a business if they don't feel like going to college. You know, they and it's still going to be a tax deferred if they're using it for approved purchases. So it's not a poor investment if you use it wisely. It's a waste of time if you expect the government to keep putting money into it, because they're going to give you $1,000 and that's going to be it. But it's an opportunity that requires you to seize the day and then take advantage of that opportunity. If you don't, then you don't benefit from it. But yes, you can potentially put enough money into it where that account could potentially put you out more money than you would get by leaving it in a savings account or putting it in a jar on top of the fridge or hiding it under the mattress or hiding it in a safe in the wall or wasting it on enjoying the pleasures of life. And then when your child gets ready to go to college, they got to rely on the government because you don't got a pot neither a window. He said if you're spending $10,000 a year on partying, you're nuts. Well, let's break down that math a little bit, buddy. Because 10,000 over 10 months is about $1,000 a month, which is about $250 a week. Shave off a little bit more over the course of 12 months, you're looking at something close to $200 a week, 150 to $200 a week. We understand that cigarettes are almost $15 a pack. 10 packs of cigarettes is 150 bucks. You spend another 50 bucks on liquor. You know, cases of beer right now are like $25 a case, 25 $30 a case, two cases of beer and a carton of cigarettes. That's not even leaving the house. That's just regular bad habits. And you do that every week out of the month. That's $10,000 partying it up. It's insignificant money. Let's go down another path real quick before we even talk about today's topic about mutualities and annuities. Women's Brazilian weave is like $800 to $1,000 before you pay the person to install it. The sew-ins and shit. All right, nails $150 every other week, every 3 weeks. You know, the makeup is like $2,500. You're looking at $15,000 just on the girl's appearance, and that's before you start buying the clothes. They're spending $10,000 or more on bullshit because these women that claim to be 10 should be naturally beautiful, which means you should be able to walk outside of your shower, dry yourself off, put on some clothes, and leave your house looking just like that and be the most amazing person on the block. And if you can't walk out of your house fresh out the shower, dried yourself off, put on some clothes, and walk straight out the door without doing nothing else for yourself, then you are not a 10. But they're spending all this money on upkeep to impress dudes, and then they're gonna lie to themselves and lie to everybody else and say that they do it for themselves. But people are wasting money on bad decisions because if you own your own house, mortgaging your own house, and your house is giving you like what a mortgage of like $1,500 a month with the property insurance, you own your own car, you're spending less than $2,000 a month with groceries and utilities and phone bill and car insurance and gas in the car and mortgage. You're spending less than $2,500 a year, which means your basic standard of living is under $30,000. Your basic standard of living is about $25,000. And if your basic standard of living costs you $75,000, you're wasting money somewhere. You said there's the magic word, if. Well, I mean, when it comes down to being responsible, if is a fifth, and we'd all be drunk. Inflation would eat it up in 20 years. No, it wouldn't, because if it is tax deferred, the money's not going to get hit with taxation, so it's not going to be eaten up in 20 years. He said, take a hike is cheap and healthy. It is. It's completely bad habits. I'm just calling it like it is, bro. These females, look, I'm about to call them something else. These females are high maintenance. Why you think they want $100,000 a year men? They want $100,000 a year men because he's going to pay for the standard of living that she's satisfied with. She's going to pay for herself, and whatever he's not paying for the standard of living, he's going to buy her gifts and take her places. That's why they need 100,000. Because if he's got 100,000 and she's got 50,000, that's $150,000 combined income. Who needs that kind of money? Somebody who's living above their means. I mean, unless you're living in like California or New York or something where you're talking about four kids, then you might need $150,000. But two adults, no kids, you don't need $150,000 in most places. You can make it without that. He said these women need to look good for likes and comments. They find it to be a necessity, but that's the cap right there. They're doing it for likes, comments, and follows on social media. They're not doing it they're doing it for external validation. They're not doing it for an actual need. Because if they ass ended up being broke and they couldn't afford to pay their hairstylist, they would walk around with a bonnet on their head with their hair covered up because they're ashamed of their natural hair, but they swear to God that they're not. The only time that they rock their natural hair is when they decide that they're gonna let their hair breathe for a week while their stylist is busy and they're gonna style it some kind of way and go and do their own thing. And then as soon as that woman is available, they're gonna get their hair did again. Or as soon as they find a dude willing to cash out, they're gonna get their hair did again. But the same sisters that swear up and down that they can rock natural don't rock natural ever. It's not I'm looking for a change where they're natural 7 months out of the year. They are never natural. The 1 or 2 weeks out of a season that they might be natural because they can't afford it and their specialist isn't available is the only time they're natural. The rest of the time they're not natural. He said, give me a natural woman and smart. Give me a natural woman, smart, that's obedient. Special shout out to Seth. He said, I missed the 1500s. Me too. Back in the day when we used to be able to smack them when they didn't listen. Vanity. It's extreme vanity, bro. It's extreme vanity. But it ain't just the females that be wasting money because dudes be wasting money too. Video games, gaming consoles, expensive cars, rims, stereo systems, high performance parts, motorcycles, high performance parts for those too. Old beat up cars that they're gonna waste money to restore. Men waste money too. It ain't just the females, but they're spending more than $10,000 a year on bullshit that does not benefit them. And that's why I be talking. That's what I be trying to tell y'all that y'all could live a life of Riley. All you got to do is just put your money in a better location so that later is greater. Today you just be responsible. Most of the time we only go on to work anyway. We get up out the bed, we go to work, we stay at work all goddamn day. We come back to the house, we go to the house, we watch TV, we go to bed, and we do that all over again. That's what we do most of the time. So what the hell is we wasting all this money for when we could really be doing the motions and saving the money? And then when we quit our job, because we got more than enough money, we can now travel the world. You can get your Beyonce on. You can do all of the stuff that you need to do to have the best life ever and be consistent about it because now you're getting paid a couple $100,000 a year and you don't got to go nowhere to get the money. You don't got to check in every day. You don't got to do nothing. Worst case scenario, you got to roll over, get on your cell phone, and request the direct deposit the way you did when you had to fill out that application online for unemployment compensation. It's easy. It's easy. He said, "What's with the weave? Low self-esteem." That's what I'm going to call it. The women are going to say that's not the case, but that's how I feel. I personally believe if you can't rock your natural hair, it's because you don't like yourself. That's the way it is. That's the way it is because my hair be all over my head every time I come to the show. When I get tired of the way it look, I'm either gonna pay somebody to braid it down, or I'm gonna pay somebody to cut it up, or I'm gonna cut it up myself and then pay somebody to edge it up. At the end of the day, you should be able to do your natural look every day, not some days, every day. If they're not willing to do that, bro, just in my observation, they're not happy with themselves. They call themselves a 10 as a self-esteem booster, but they're not a 10. They're flaws that they're not happy with, and that's why they spend 4 hours in the mirror putting on makeup. That's why they spend thousands of dollars at the hairdresser putting on weave. That's why they spend all this extra money on girdle belts, push-up bras, butt lifters, BBL, liposuction. They spend weeks in the gym only doing their hips and thighs, never working on nothing else. That's why they got to put on heels so that they can be 7 inches taller because they're going to get a 3 inch lift with a 6 inch stiletto so that they can go from being 4'11" to 5'9" so that they can talk to the 6'5" man instead of talking to the 5'6" dude that's still taller than her in flats because they're not happy with who they are. That's the reason why. But the facade that they put on when they walk outside of the house, that's what the man is supposed to be attracted to. And that's what the man is supposed to spend his whole life paying for. But when she take all that shit off and she use a step ladder to get out of her heels and she go back to being 4'2" with no makeup, no eyelashes, no fingernails, no weave, no wig, no extensions, no lace front, no 20 pounds of makeup, no waist trainer, gut hanging out, no butt lifters, no padded bra, flat titties. And then the man is supposed to say, well, that's what I'm investing in. False advertisement. I should have been able to agree to that before you took all this shit off. Optical X-ray says I rock my natural hair and my spiritual hair covering as a woman. I respect what I have. All right, hold up. Show me right now. She said that she rock her natural. Hold on, here we go. She rock her natural. I want to see it right now. I want to see your natural hair right now. I want to see your natural. Click the link, approve the mic, approve the camera. Show me right now your natural hair and your hair cover. If she don't get up on this channel, then I'm gonna call shenanigans. I'm gonna keep my eyes out for her to hit the button. So when she hit up in this green room, you're gonna see her come up on the screen. But I'm putting a link up there right now. Optical X-ray. I want to see your natural hair and your spiritual hair cover, so I can see some natural born hair on you because you respect what you have. I want to see it because I don't see women do it. I don't ever see a woman do it. They always say that they do, but they don't never do it. I call shenanigans. I want to see it today. Now, in the meantime, while I'm waiting on her to show up, because I don't believe that she will, in the meantime, guys have been asking me questions about mutualities and annuities, and we're going to be talking about that today. So, one of the questions that we ask ourselves is what's a bigger and better retirement risk? Outliving your money or missing out on market growth? Because a lot of people, you have heard the stories 100 times that annuities are for guaranteed income and mutual funds are for growth. Now, one is for safety, the other is for opportunity. It's a simple, clean story. But what the slick brochures and financial news hosts don't show is how this one choice, this fork in the road, can be the difference between a retirement of security and confidence and one filled with financial anxiety. Look, you said you want to see her too, bro. I'm waiting on her to get up here. She said it. That was what she said. I'm waiting. I'm looking. I'm looking. She has not popped up in my green room yet. She ain't not. She could have left before I said something, but I'm assuming that she was watching and she dipped. But it's in the comment section, man. You click that link, approve the mic, approve the camera. I want to see your natural hair with your hair bonnet on. And she probably had to go put the hair bonnet. She might have to put some makeup on and do the hair up some and find the bonnet and put the right bonnet on so that she can get up on. She might be up here in an hour. She might because one of the reasons why the females don't come up onto the show a lot of the time is because they're not dressed to be seen in public, and we are live. We are live. So when you get up on here, the way Dylan got up on here, the way Jesse got up on here, the way Joe got up on here, you get up here, you live. You're gonna be seen by millions and millions and millions of people. I'm telling you, bro. You say the right thing, you're gonna be in a short reel. You're gonna you're gonna be on the live and you're gonna be on the post live. These females don't want to get up here if they're not properly dressed for it. They're not satisfied with the way they look, so they're not gonna come up here. I'm not gonna stop them though. I'm not gonna stop them. You want to come up here and show me an all natural woman? I want to see it. I want to see it. I'm calling y'all out just because she said what she said. Now, making the wrong choice about your retirement, about your future, isn't just about getting lower returns. It's going to be about the very real possibility of running out of money a decade too soon. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I tell you guys about building your 20-year plan, because while you can make it to a million in 10 years, if you kept going for 20, and if you still had it in you and you kept going for 30, you can go from having a million to having 2.5 or 3.6 million by the time you actually do stop, which gives you the capabilities to keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Where whenever you do stop 60, 70 years old, you are able to ride that wave for another 30 or 40 years without having to worry about where your money's coming from or lifestyle creep or inflation or taxation. You will be free upon free, right? That's what I talk to you guys about. Make sure y'all mash those reaction buttons as y'all slide in here too. I see y'all over there on Twitter X. I'm telling y'all, y'all can talk. Y'all can talk. This is a live interactive thing. I see y'all and a handful of y'all over there on Twitch too. Y'all can dive in with some what's goods. I got y'all. Now, back to the main topic. This is going to be about watching inflation chew away at your lifestyle year after year, which is what Michael was talking about with the Trump account. But think about it like this, Michael. If inflation is hitting you 3 or 4% every year and you're getting 10% return deferred taxation on it, where the difference between is that you're making a 6% profit out of every $1,000, you're getting what? 60? Oh well, isn't that right? Yeah, 6% out of every $1,000, you're getting like $60. So if you was adding, you know, $5 or $10,000 a year into your child's account with a 6% return, you would likely be getting closer to $600 per every $1,000 that you put in there. And over the course of 20 years, if you manage to build up $20,000, you should have closer to 25 or $30,000 in that Trump account, which is the 10%, 3.5% on $500,000 house. It's 20% on $100,000 house. It's the full price of a brand new car. It is the first 2 years of undergrad. It's the quantity, it's 50% of a $50,000 SBA loan for starting up a business. It's plenty of money to help you get started, but it requires your parents to invest in it. So like I told you, now inflation is not going to eat away all of the money. If it was only giving you 4% return on investment, like the bonds are doing, where 3 to 4% inflation is offsetting the 3.3 to 4.5% interest return back on the bond. The bonds are breaking even. The bonds are breaking even, but I mean the Trump account hasn't not been shown to break even yet. But I'm gonna go back and double check those, and I'm gonna let you know if and when they start posting interest rates on the Trump accounts, the average interest rates or average interest rates. That way we'll be able to see like exactly how successful can it be. But if they're doing 8 to 10% with S&P 500s and you take out 3 or 4% off a lifestyle creep, that's not lifestyle creep, off of inflation, that's like 6 or 7% deferred taxes, because taxes would be 3 or 4% more, but they're deferring taxes until after you go to take the money out. So the principal is going to have compound interest for 18 to 20 years. So this concern about the difference between mutualities and annuities, it's going to be about accidentally leaving nothing for your family if you're trying to leave stuff behind, or on the flip side, hoarding a pile of assets that you were always too afraid to spend, where you end up dying, never spending the money and never living the life that you deserve because you were afraid that you were going to outlive the total balance. That's always a huge concern. He said if a Democrat is in office, inflation will be over double digits again. Okay, bro, I can't say shit about that. There's gonna be two ways that's gonna happen. If a Democrat is in office, you're gonna see extensive taxation because the Democrats are gonna try to tax the rich. And if the Democrats do anything that provides a lot more money to the pockets of the poor, since poor people are wasteful, that's going to give more money to the poor. More poor people are going to spend more money, which means that's going to cause the inflation. The Democratic Party is not going to cause the inflation. The Democratic Party is going to put more money in the pockets of the poor, which is going to stimulate the economy because poor people are wasteful. And the poor people not keeping their money in their pockets is going to be what triggers the inflation. And that inflation trigger is going to be in the double digits. I agree. It's going to be in the double digits, but it's not because of Democrats. It's not because Democrats are idiots. It's because poor people are dumb. That's what it is. Poor people are fiscally irresponsible. They live check to check no matter how much extra money they get. If you had a stable standard of living and the government gives you an extra $25,000 for your tax return, that $25,000 should never be spent because your stable standard of living before that money came was covered by your paycheck. So you should have an extra 25 grand that should just be invested. It should not be spent on catching up on back debt. It should not be spent on making a massive down payment on your student loans. It should not be spent on paying off your car in full. I mean, yeah, you can do that, but that money should really go into a brokerage account, high interest brokerage account, and use that brokerage account to pay off your debt. Because if you put the money into a brokerage account and a brokerage account giving you 20% return right now, and you take that 20% return and put it on a loan, you're claiming that loan on your taxes as debt tax. Tax blanket. So all the money, so the principal stays, and you have an extra set of income coming in every month that's helping you pay for your debt. You could pay more debt down with the profits off the brokerage account than what you would do just taking all of that extra money and putting it on your debt, where you got rid of the principal and you don't have any money left over. You should invest the principal first and then take the interest and pay off debt with the interest. He said a good example of inflation is to look at your grocery cart. $100 used to fill the cart. Nowadays, it all fits in the baby carrier. Inflation is not because is okay. So part of inflation is going to be because of tariffs. Part of inflation is going to be because of high oil costs. Part of inflation is going to be because of war. Part of the inflation is going to be because of geopolitical trade wars. Part of inflation is because people are willing to spend $1,000 for those gold Confederate flag Donald Trump shoes. Wasteful spending. Prices are all the expenses to the business is offset onto the customer because the customer is willing to pay the price. So as long as they're charging iPhone 16s for $1,500 and people are paying cash up front for that $1,500 phone, that phone is going to be market price $1,500. Law says that they're only supposed to charge you $799 for the fucking phone, but you're paying $1,600 because you can. They're going to charge you if you do a payment plan. They're going to charge you $699 up front, which is the maximum amount they're legally supposed to charge you, and then they're going to put the rest of it on a payment plan where they're going to give you credits towards it for 18 months, put you in an unofficial contract, which contracts you into the rest of the debt. But if you keep their company for 18, 24 months, you're going to pay the price they were supposed to sell you the phone for, and then turn around and get the rest of the phone with no additional cost. But if you're going to buy the phone up front, you're going to agree to pay almost $2,000 for a phone that is legally not supposed to be sold to you in America for more than $700, right? So it's not the $100 worth of groceries in the cart that used to be a whole cart full of groceries that now can barely fit in a baby carrier is not the part of inflation. That is because of the poor decisions of the poor. That's going to be regular inflation, which is going to be about probably 1% of uncontrollable inflation. But the rest of the inflation that you're going to be dealing with is going to come directly from bad financial decisions. Name brand clothes, buying Chanel because this petite hot girl is singing songs about Chanel. The everybody buying Patron and Hennessy because all of the rappers drink Patron and Hennessy. The people that buy cigars because they see the rappers rolling blunts with cigars. The people that waste money on expensive cars because they have car commercials with hot chicks hanging off the back of the cars. The poor decision making skills of the poor is the reason why inflation is going to be that way because the groceries are only costing $100 for a small cart of groceries because people are willing to pay the price. Because if people say, "Well, I'm not buying that at that price," and take their money away from the store until the prices go down, the store is going to have a cap as to how much the customers are willing to pay for the product. So inflation is only because poor people are willing to pay the cost. You pay the cost to be the boss mentality allows you to spend extra money every year on the fact that rich people want to get richer because you want to feel like a boss in your own broke life and you're going to spend extra money to be the boss in your own broke life, but you're always broke. Is that the more they tax, the more it goes into programs to help the poor, and the more people running and contracted to do the programs seem to pocket, and the poor never seem to see it. No, the poor see it because take food stamps for example. Food stamps is a subsidy. That's a program that's paid for by the government. The money you're not paying for on groceries, you should be investing it somewhere else so that you no longer have to get the food stamps after a while. But the people are going to not have to spend money on groceries and now they have more money to pay for bullshit. So they're going to continue to benefit from the food stamps and they're going to take the extra money and waste it on stuff that the food stamps don't cover. Some people who aren't responsible with their money will sell their food stamps, two stamps for $1, so that they can buy groceries for somebody else. And then they're going to take the cash and do shit like buy cigarettes and beer, which is what you can't buy with food stamps because they're irresponsible about their shit. The fact of the matter is that the 99% of broke people are broke from bad decisions, whether they know it or not. They're broke because of bad decisions. They're living check to check because of bad decisions. Even if they're making good decisions now where they're bouncing back off of past bad decisions, they are in the situation they're in right now because they used to make bad financial decisions. That's why people are broke. Is that you don't need to live like the Joneses. Yeah, you're exactly right. You don't need to live like the Joneses. You don't need to live like the Joneses. If you live alone, you do not need a three-bedroom apartment. If you live with a spouse, you do not need a two-bedroom apartment. You got a two-bedroom apartment so that you can have a guest bedroom. You don't need all that extra space. You don't use all that extra space. You know, if you live within you don't need an SUV and you're the only person getting in your car all the time. You need a coupe. You need a two-door coupe, hatchback. You don't need a gas guzzler, but people get them so that they can ride their friends in it. They get a four-door sedan. They get an SUV. They get third row seating so that they can put their crew with them so that they can go places with an entourage. And when they go places with an entourage, either they're the designated driver where they're paying for the gas and the parking, or they're covering the whole show where they're paying for cover for everybody and drinks on them. It is bad decision making. That's the reason why people stay poor. Because I done already gave y'all information today and every other day out of the week where you can live off of a $50,000 a year income and not be broke in 10 to 15 years. So if two people with a $50,000 a year income come together, y'all should be rich. You can't tell me that you had a 10-year relationship and y'all still broke as fuck. He's a EBT, but I don't understand what he's saying. Broke minded people are not going to understand what I'm saying. Broke people with a lot of people gonna be like, damn, I didn't know this shit hitting hard. They're gonna like and subscribe and they're gonna keep riding away because that's really the case. That's really the case. As soon as you realize shit, it is like that. It is like that. If you think about anything that you've done, you got folks, oh, I love tattoos. You got folks that buy tattoos. Tattoos do nothing but entertain you visually, temporarily. And then after that, a lot of the times the tattoos you get, you regret. But that's five, $10,000, $12,000 that you wasted to put it on you. 15, $20,000 you pay to cover it up or take it off, and it's just a waste of money. It's a waste of money. There's certain things in life you don't need to do. You do it because it makes you feel good in the moment, and then a lot of times you regret what you did. Every hangover is a regret. Every time you got shortness of breath, that's a regret from all the weed you smoked. The munchies, that's a regret because the side effect of smoking the weed. There's too many things going on. Is if you're young, focus on becoming wealthy. After wealthy, you can make poor decisions. Exactly. That's what I keep preaching. That's exactly what I keep preaching. If you start off focusing on being wealthy first, after you get there, if you maintain a budget of not spending more than 50% of what you built up, where your monthly income coming in every month, if it's 10,000 or $15,000 a month, you only spend half of it, but you reinvest the other half. You can start making wasteful decisions on a budget because you far exceeded your original income. You can quit your job and make bad decisions that is only going to cost you half of your monthly income, and you can reinvest the other half, which offsets lifestyle creep, which offsets inflation, which offsets taxation, and you're still able to generate that money for the rest of your life. That is what I tell you guys. And there's no reason why you can't pause on YOLO for 15 to 20 years, where you can then YOLO for the rest of for 30 or 40 more. Because once you reach 69 and they hand you $1,000 or less per month for your Social Security disability, and you're going to be living a $2,000 a year lifestyle on that Social Security disability for another 30 years, you're going to be sitting there like, damn, I should have been listening to Xander. He know what the fuck he's talking about. Damn right, I know what I'm talking about. Because what's better? What's better? $2,000 a month for disability, or $24,000 a year lifestyle where you're living in the hood. Yeah, you got money coming in for you. Government's covering you. You might have free medical bills, but that's the best you got. Or 15, $20,000 a month where you can go wherever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want. Chauffeurs, first class, private jets, name brand clothes, whatever the fuck you want. You got more money coming in, and you got decisions to spend the money. That I think is a better lifestyle. Your house bought and paid for, your car bought and paid for, you're buying a house in another country. That I think is a better lifestyle. Now, anybody that agrees, stop wasting fucking money now and start investing in yourself so that you can get there. That's what I'm trying to talk about. So on tonight's show, we're going to be pulling back yet another curtain, and we're going to break down the real world numbers, and we're going to go way beyond the usual talking points because we're going to show you which of the financial tools based on annuities and mutual funds that actually belongs in your portfolio, and more importantly, what specific job you should be hiring those tools for. And I promise you, the answer is more nuanced and frankly more empowering than you have been led to believe, because this isn't just another comparison. This is the only guide that you guys are going to need to make it where you're trying to go. So before you get tangled up in the fees, taxes, and returns, we have to start with the most important question, the one that simplifies this entire debate. What job are you hiring your money to do? Think of it this way: you wouldn't hire a world class chef to fix your car, you wouldn't hire a brilliant mechanic to cater your wedding. Both are experts, both are valuable, but their purpose is completely different. Applying the wrong expert to the job is a recipe for disaster. It's exactly the same with annuities and mutual funds. They are both financial tools, but they are built for entirely different jobs. So let's be crystal clear. The main job of an annuity is to create a guaranteed stream of income. It's a contract with an insurance company designed to solve one of the biggest risks in retirement, which is longevity risk, the risk of outliving all of your savings. When you buy an income annuity, you are hiring that money to show up in your bank account like a paycheck for the rest of your life. Its job is to provide predictability. You are handing the risk of living a very long life from your shoulders to an insurance company. Now, let's look at a mutual fund. Its a primary job is totally different. A mutual fund's purpose is to provide growth, diversification, and liquidity. When you buy a mutual fund, you're pooling your money with other investors to own a basket of stocks or bonds. You are hiring that money to go out into the market and work for you, to chase growth and to appreciate in value over the long term without your effort involved. Its job is to build your nest egg, not to provide you a guaranteed paycheck. It is a tool for accumulation. This is the key idea that gets lost in the debate. People argue about which one is better, but that's like arguing whether a hammer is better than a screwdriver. The answer depends entirely on whether you need to drive the nail or turn the screw. So, the first step is to look at your own finances and ask, what is the most urgent job that I need to fill? Do you need to create rock solid income where the floor of your income is going to be combined with your social security disability, cover your essential expenses, your mortgage, your utilities, your groceries, and your healthcare? Or do you need to know with contractual certainty that a specific amount of cash will arrive every single month, no matter what the stock market is doing? If yes, then you're looking to hire an annuity. Or is your most pressing need to keep growing your wealth to outpace inflation for the next 10, 20, 30 years? Is your goal to maximize the potential value of your portfolio for the future spending that you plan on doing, for leaving a legacy for the next generation, or for having a large liquid pool of money for emergencies? If that's the job description, then you're looking to hire a mutual fund. The confusion and costly mistakes all happen when we try to force one tool to do the job of others. If you ask a mutual fund to provide a guaranteed stable income, you expose yourself to terrifying risks of a market crash, and that could be experienced at the wrong time. What's known as sequence of returns risk. And if you ask an annuity to be your primary engine for high growth, you will almost certainly be very, very disappointed. So, as we go through the rest of tonight's show, keep that information as the framework embedded in your mind. Make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button, and then make sure that you hit those reaction buttons throughout the show, because we're going to be getting into a lot of details that you guys are going to benefit from. One tool, and this is going to be for spending, for creating a pension that you own, and the other tool is going to be for saving, for building the wealth that you're going to need. It is not annuity versus mutual fund. It is about understanding the distinct and separate roles they can both play. Now, technically, you can get both of them, but the outstanding results of both of them is going to be limited to the quantity of money you put into both of them. So, to really get which tool is right for you, we need to look under the hood. How do these things actually work? Because it's the mechanics that their true strengths and weaknesses are revealed in. So let's start with the annuity. At the heart of an annuity is a risk pooling agreement. Imagine a group of 1,000 retirees, all at the age of 65. They each gave a lump sum of money, say like $100,000 over the course of their life, to an insurance company. The insurer now has a giant pool of $100 million, which it invests typically in very conservative, high quality bonds. The insurance company then turns that into securities. The math experts who live and breathe life expectancy statistics, because on tons of data, that's what this is going to be based off. They can predict with incredible accuracy how many people in that group will live to be 75, 85, or even past 100 years old. Some people in the pool will sadly pass away long before the average. The money that was earmarked for their future payments doesn't just vanish. It stays in the pool and is effectively redistributed to those who live longer than average. This redistribution is the magic ingredient in an annuity. It's called the mortality credit. So let's put this in another way, because this is the most important concept to understand. Imagine five 80-year-old women go on a trip and they all put $100 in the box. They make a pact that they'll come back to the same spot every year, and the last one surviving gets the whole $500. Next year, only four of them come back. One has passed away. The box still has $500. The year after that, only three return. The box still has $500. The mortality credit is the benefit for those survivors to get from the money left behind by those who passed away early. That is precisely how an annuity provides an income that you cannot outlive, and one that is higher than what you could safely generate on your own. It's a combination of the investment return plus the mortality credits from the risk sharing pool. You are trading away the potential for leaving that lump sum behind in exchange for a higher guaranteed income while you're still alive. This is what allows an insurer to promise a 65-year-old person a payout of 6 or 7% for life, even when the underlying bonds might only be yielding 4 or 5%. Some of that money's coming from somebody else who died. Crazy, right? So, what about a mutual fund? Now, real quick, before we dive into a mutual fund, if you put up 100 grand and you're supposed to be getting 6 or 7% of that every year guaranteed for life after the age of 65, right? What's that like? Uh $60,000, $6,000, something like that. Well, if they're giving you 6% out of a million, you're looking at closer to $60,000. But I'm assuming that they're going to give you something closer to like 12 or $14,000 out of your 100 grand that you gave up, right? Regardless of how much you put in the pot in the beginning, they're looking at trying to give you like $1,000, $2,000 a month for the rest of your life with that 6 or 7% return out of the total quantity of money that's sitting there. Because if everybody's got a combined $1 million in this pool and you're getting 6% of $1 million, that's closer to 60 grand. That's a reasonable standard of living, right? Because 60 grand is going to be upward of $4,000 a month. And if they're guaranteeing you that, regardless of who's still alive, that's because a lot of people pass. This is a benefit for you. Now, that mutual fund, a mutual fund is also a pool of money, but the idea behind it is completely different. Instead of pooling longevity risk, you are pooling investment money to get diversification and professional management, where I give you guys information on how to manage it yourself. You and millions of other people give your money to an investment company like Vanguard or Fidelity. The company then uses that giant pool to buy hundreds or even thousands of individual stocks and bonds. If you buy a share of an S&P 500 index fund, your money is used to buy tiny fractional shares of all 500 companies in that index. You become part owner of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and all the rest of them. Your share of the fund is priced at a net asset value or NAV at the end of every trading day. The fund company adds up the value of everything it owns, subtracts expenses, and divides it by the number of shares to get the NAV. There's no pooling of mortality risk here. If you pass away, the full value of your mutual shares goes to your heirs. You get no benefits if other investors pass away. You are an individual owner of your shares, and their value is tied directly to the performance of the underlying investment. Thank you. I would rather hold the stocks and bonds myself. Me too. That's why I give y'all all of the ones that's going across the top of the screen right now. I would prefer to have total control over my ability to put my money on the ones that are producing the most results in the fastest period of time and then redistribute the dividends into the growth stocks. When I told you guys about the core satellite, you should have about 15 or 20 really good stocks. And out of that 15 or 20 really good stocks, six or eight of them are producing large quantities of dividends. And then you're redistributing those dividends into the rest of the 40% that is going to be covering the rest of the growth. You should have an average, regardless of what the market looks like, you should have an average of more than 15% so that after the 3 to 4% interest of inflation and then the 3 to 4 interest of taxation gets taken off, you still have more than 10% after taxes and inflation, which is better than the S&P 500. And if you can pull that off, you're guaranteed more than 15% return. That's why I give you guys the information that I give you because I'm like, shit, I found the soup. I stirred the pot. I crushed the numbers. And then I'm like, shit, well, if you get six of these, five of these, three of these, two of these, and put them together, 60% over here, 40% over here, your REITs and your BDCs are going to be your cash flow drivers. And then your healthcare, your oils, your electricity, utilities, growth stocks, Bitcoin, TikTok, the all of the other stuff that you're going to have, Tesla, Oracle, all the other stuff you're going to have, growth stocks, that stuff comes after your cash generators. So even if you continue to add to your portfolio, you're getting a large chunk from your BDCs and your REITs, and you're going to put that into the other stocks that are going to give you the average of more than 15% between all of them. That's the long of the short. And if you're guaranteeing yourself with 15 or 20 good stocks that you're getting all cash dividends, that means you're going to get paid every month from something. And you're going to be getting paid every quarter from something else, which also means that throughout the year, you're getting your every month you'll be able to deposit money into your bank account every month. And if you're taking half of your money every month and dropping it into your bank account and the other half reinvesting into your portfolio, you're guaranteeing that that portfolio will continue to grow when you quit working. As soon as you start taking your money out after you have exceeded the expenses of your standard of living that you would deem acceptable. So if you need more than $60,000, get you a $120,000 worth of dividends and then start reinvesting 60 and depositing 60 into your bank account and start paying bills. If your standard of living is $40,000, get $80,000. Reinvest 40, deposit 40. If you're living $24,000, bring in 50,000. Reinvest 25, deposit the other 25. Regardless of how you want to do it, you set yourself up in a way where you don't have to work anymore. Your current standard of living will be satisfactory for the remainder of your life, and you can offset inflation, taxation, and lifestyle creep. As long as you do that, you're good. You're never going to run out of money, and whatever's left over goes to the kids. Whatever kids you got. Any of them that come out the woodwork like roaches after you die that wasn't there while you was alive, you got it. Now, the growth in the mutual fund is going to come from two things: the price of the stock and the bonds going up, and the dividends and interest that they're going to pay out, which are usually reinvested to buy more shares, which is what I tell you guys to do with your core satellite portfolio. Unlike an annuity, there are zero guarantees because the value of your investment can and will go up and down daily. And it could be up 20% one year and down 20% the next year. The fund manager's job isn't to give you a paycheck, it is to manage the portfolio according to its goals, whether that's aggressive growth or something more conservative. They could care less what the results are. They're just going to put the money where you tell them to put it based on the limitations of what they're allowed to put it into, because not all stocks are accessible to annuities or mutual funds. So if you're paying attention to this, they are going to be built completely different. An annuity is an insurance product that uses mortality credits to create guaranteed life income. And a mutual fund is a direct market investment that gives you ownership of a diversified portfolio that you don't have to manage, because this one is going to be managing the risk through pooling the money, and the other is going to be about taking risk for the potential reward down the line, where somebody else is handling this for you. Every decision in finance comes down to a trade off between risk versus reward. Understanding this as key, and especially paying attention to the obvious when comparing annuities and mutual funds. The word risk and reward mean very different things for each individual person. So let's talk about the reward and the risk of a mutual fund because it's more familiar to most people. The reward is the potential for significant long term growth. By investing in those stocks, you're participating in the growth of the economy. Historically, equities have provided returns that significantly outpace inflation, with long term nominal returns often cited in the 7 to 10% range. So if you're following my information and you're overshooting 16 to 20%, you're doing way better than everybody else. Though future estimates are going to be more modest. You understand that 7 to 10 has been the past. This growth is what builds real wealth because it is what is allowing a $500,000 portfolio to potentially become a $1 million portfolio over time. The funds also offer the reward of liquidity because you can sell your shares and get cash within a few days, which is great for flexibility. The risk is just as clear because of the market volatility. The value of your investments is not guaranteed. The market can crash, your portfolio can drop by 20 or 30% in a short time. And if you're trying to take your money out after the market crashes, you could lose out on the value of your portfolio if you don't allow it to bounce back before you pull your money out. This is going to lead to the single greatest danger for retirees using a mutual fund for income, which is that sequence of returns risk. So let me explain this critical concept. It's not just your average return that matter in retirement. It is the order that you get them in. If you retire and the market has a few great years, your portfolio grows and can handle later downturns. But if you retire and the market immediately tanks and you have to sell shares at low prices to live, you can permanently cripple your portfolio. So you're kicking it while it is down and selling shares for income after a 25% drop, meaning that you have to sell 33% more shares to get the same amount of cash. This is how portfolios should be paid attention to, and that's going to be how the last 30 years can be gone in less than 15 years. He said, proud of you, son. Well, I greatly appreciate whoever that is. Thank you very much, boy. Now, let's turn to annuities. This risk and reward profile is almost a mirror image. The reward of an income annuity is a contractual guarantee. That's the only reward that you guarantee. And it is completely eliminating the longevity and sequence of return risk for the money in your annuity. This reward is certainty. So it's knowing that for as long as you live, a specific amount of money will land in your account. So you're pretty much going to put up a certain quantity of cash, and based on what you put up, they're telling you that after a certain age, you're guaranteed to get paid back a certain quantity of money. It's a paycheck from an insurance office that doesn't care what the market is doing. This provides incredible peace of mind and creates a stable foundation for your financial plans. But what are going to be the risks here? They aren't about market loss. They are just as real, though, because first, there's going to be the liquidity risk. When you buy an immediate income annuity, you are handing over a lump sum of money. That lump sum of money is gone. You can't call the insurance company and ask for it back. This illiquidity is a fundamental part of the deal. For many, giving up control over a large chunk of their savings is a big hurdle, especially if you paid out the money and now you need some money for an emergency. You're not getting it back. Second, there's inflation risk. Many basic annuities offer a fixed payment that never goes up. A $2,000 a month payment might feel great today, but after 20 years of inflation at 3%, its purchasing power would cut almost in half. So your income is guaranteed, but the value of that income is not. While some annuities offer inflation adjusted payments, they come at that cost and starting you with a much lower initial payment might actually be a problem for you as well. It's my money and I need it now. But if you invested in your own brokerage account that you controlled when you're in your 20s and 30s, you're 36, I'm 41, and we're investing in our own brokerage account for 20 years. By the time you're 56 and I'm 50 or 65, we should have more than a half million, if not $1 million. Well, if we did it for 20 years, we should both have $1 million. And if we both had $1 million and we were doing it 15 to 20% interest, 15% interest would be giving us $150,000 a year. 3% off the top would bring it down probably $20,000, and then the 10 or 15%. Well, no, the 3 or 4% taxation would bring it down another 20 or $30,000. So out of $150,000, you'd likely have 100 grand after everything is all said and done. So if you put the money in the right spot, you're not broke. Not you're if you got 100 grand coming in every year, you're getting paid well over $10,000 a month. You should be able to take 50% of that and reinvest it. Let's live a $75,000 lifestyle and take 25% of it and reinvest it back in. But if you own your house, you own your car, your basic utilities, cell phone bill, car insurance, all that other stuff should still cost less than 2,500 a month because you don't have a car note, you don't have a mortgage, you don't have anything else to pay for. Everything is owned. In this dynamic, you don't need more than 25,000 a year, which means the other 50 grand a year would be wasteful spending, and rightfully so. Because if you got $1 million and you're getting paid 100 grand a year and you're reinvesting 25 grand a year, you're not going to run out of money in 20 years. When the standard of living goes up double, you will go from living off of $25,000 of it to living off of $50,000 of it. And instead of spending $50,000 on living life, you'd be spending 25,000 on living life and still reinvesting the other 25,000. You still got it good. Because I'm pretty sure after the first 2 years, first 2 or 3 years of spending $50,000 on absolutely nothing, you're going to run out of shit to buy. You're going to run out of wants. You're going to run out of needs. You're going to be bored as fuck. Like, nah, that's all right. I'm good. Sit in my rocket chair, sipping my ties, getting your two different feet massaged by two different women on the same island because you don't need nothing else. I'm more than sure. I'm more than sure because men are simple. We don't want for much. So after we get just about everything that we could ask for in the first 2 years of retirement, the next 15 or 20 years is easy. And like, yep, I already bought me a Resvani tank. I already bought me a big house. I already bought me a pool in the back. I got 3 wives. I don't need anything else. 3 wives and 20 kids. I don't need anything else. So the third thing here is the opportunity cost risk. The price of a guarantee is giving up the potential for market growth. While your annuity provides a safe payout, the stock market might be roaring ahead. Your annuity money will never see that upside. You have traded growth potential for that security with the risk of losing out on any inflation cost that negatively impacts your bottom line. Finally, there is a legacy risk because, as we discussed, if you buy a life only annuity for $200,000 and get hit by a bus a year later, the insurance company is going to keep the rest of it. There's no legacy for your heirs from that money. You can buy annuities with refund features that protects your beneficiaries, but these features will reduce your payout rate because they weaken the power of the mortality credit for the insurer. Is that retirement sounds like it will be complete when I have a calendar on my door, according to what I learned here. Yes, actually, that is for a man to have a calendar on your door where the ladies can come and sign the calendar as what days they're coming back and all the shit that you need is covered. Yeah, that's when you're in retirement, buddy. That's when all of your needs and wants are met and you have money left over. You have no concerns. You have little. It doesn't mean that shit won't happen. It just means that you have a way to resolve your shit. That is when you're able to safely retire. You don't have to borrow. You don't have to beg. You don't have to work at Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot as a door greeter. You don't have to deal with somebody a half your age telling you what to do. You don't have to deal with somebody younger than your oldest child telling you what to do. You don't have to, yes, sir, somebody that's 20 years old and you're 72 years old. You don't have to deal with none of that shit. You don't have to deal with customer complaints. You don't have to deal with roaring products. You don't have to deal with meetings. You don't have to deal with market values. You don't have to deal with nothing else. You've made so much money, somebody else is getting paid to do what you do if you don't use the drip account that automatically reinvests it. If you rely on fintech to do for you what you otherwise would have paid somebody else to do, you can literally have certain accounts that are going to reinvest your money and certain accounts that are going to pay dividends on a specific day, and those dividends get deposited into your account automatically every month, and then you just spend the money as it comes in. And if you want to offset taxation, instead of depositing the money directly into your bank account, you leverage the portfolio for a line of credit. You buy the shit that you want to buy with the line of credit, and then you take all your dividends that you're not reinvesting into the portfolio and you pay off the line of credit. And now you don't have any taxation because you paid off a loan. Trying to told you. The if you built up a $500,000 portfolio and you borrowed $250,000 and now your brokerage account is paying off that $250,000, you got no taxes on your brokerage account. You still got the $250,000 worth of cash. You can buy whatever you want, do whatever you want, go wherever you want off of that money. And by the time the $250 in cash is spent, the brokerage account is paid off and you can do it again. Yeah, that's how Elon Musk and Donald Trump maintains their billions. Because why am I going to give it to the government when I can borrow against a stone and pay the stone back and get a tax deduction because I paid the stone back? You're not trying to get blood out of a turnip no more. You're trying to get the blood of Christ out of a bottle of wine. That's what you're trying to do. You guys got to see the trade off here. Mutual funds offer growth and liquidity with the risk of market volatility, and annuities are going to offer guaranteed income and security with the risk of illiquidity, inflation, and opportunity costs. So neither one is good or bad. The smart investor doesn't choose just one. They ask, how can I combine these to get the rewards that I need and minimize the risk that I can't afford? This is going to be where the rubber is going to meet the road. So let's put some numbers together on this, and then I'm going to tell you guys a hypothetical retiree experiment. Take we got a person that's like 65 years old in good health. Not really. So you don't understand the opportunity cost? Well, special shout out for Ryan. If you hang out long enough, you'll learn. We're going to teach you. So let's say we got somebody that's 65 years old. They're in good health, just retired with a $500,000 IRA. So their Social Security is going to cover their basic needs, but they're going to need a portfolio to generate about $25,000 a year in additional income for travel, hobbies, spoiling your grandkids, whatever, right? So we're going to explore three different paths that you can take in this particular type of scenario. The all-in mutual fund approach, you're going to keep your entire $500,000 in the balance in a 60/40 mutual fund, where your plan is going to be to withdraw about 5% or $25,000 in your first year and adjust for inflation after that. The good timing is going to be in your retirement. If you retire and the market is on your side for the first 5 years, your portfolio's average is going to be a solid 7% return. Year one, you're going to start with 500 grand. You're going to grow 7%. That's going to be 535,000. You're going to withdraw 25,000, leaving 510,000. You're going to do that again. Year two is going to go up to 545,700. You're going to take out another 25,750 to cover the inflation. You're up 520,000. So every year, your principal is going up $10,000, but you're still taking out what you need plus inflation. In this scenario, you're going to be golden. Your portfolio is going to be growing fast and it's going to be growing faster than you spend it. You're going to have total liquidity and you're going to leave a large inheritance. That is the dream that most parents have when they have kids. Now, bad timing, if we rewind this story, right before you retire, nasty bear market occurs. This is going to be the sequence risk that we talked about. $500,000 market crashes, you lose 20%. Your 500,000 goes down to 400,000, but you still got to pay bills. You take out 25,000, you're at 375. Year two, your portfolio stays at 375. You still need some more money. You take out 25,700, you're at 3,004, you're at 349,000. The difference is that after 2 years, you have a massive hole in your $500,000 savings where you have lost over 30% of your principal. The stress is going to be immense there. You start cutting back, constantly worried. Even if the market roars back up in year three, the damage has been done because you had to sell so many shares at the bottom that your portfolio is permanently smaller. Now, same person, same portfolio, same withdrawal rate, but a disastrous outcome because of the bad timing. Scenario two, all in annuity. That's when you're nervous about the stock market and you're going to crave some certainty. $500,000 annuity is going to buy a fixed immediate income annuity, giving your current interest rate environment, which is qualifying for favorable annuities at 65 years old, where you might get a security of a lifetime payout of around 7.2%. This translates to, doing the math, roughly about $36,000 a year or $3,000 a month for the rest of your life guaranteed. The upside is obvious. Now, if you can afford that in your current location, because if you're in California, that might not be enough. But if you have an income uh, that is already planned for 36,000 a year instead of 25,000 a year, you have zero market risk and zero sequence risk. So you can sleep soundly knowing that income is guaranteed. You're going to be outliving your income here. But what did you give up? First is going to be the liquidity. All $500,000 gone. And if you need $30,000 for a new roof, you can't get it from that particular pot. Second, no upside. If the market doubles, your income is still 36,000 a year. And unless you pay extra for an inflation rider, which would have lowered your starting income, your $3,000 a month will buy less and less each year. Finally, if you choose a lifestyle only option and pass away in 3 years, the insurer keeps the rest of the money and you have solved the income problem but created several others. The third one that we think is really important is going to be the hybrid approach. creating an income floor. Let's look at strategic combinations, deciding to give your money specific jobs. So, figure that you need non negotiable expenses beyond Social Security are about $18,000 a year. So, you take about 250,000 of your portfolio, buy the immediate income annuity at the same 7.2% payout that's going to generate that $18,000 per year guarantee or $1,500 a month. That's guaranteed for life. You now built your income floor. Your essential bills are going to be covered forever, and this removes the fear that you have. Now, the other $500,000, you keep that in the same 60/40 balance mutual fund. So, $250,000 in annuities, $250,000 in a mutual fund. This money now has a different job. Its job is not to provide the essential income, its job is for growth, liquidity, and discretionary spending, the fun stuff. So, replaying that bad timing scenario, market crashes, you have $250,000 in a mutual fund, loses 20%, drops to 200 grand. You have to sell some shares. Back then, you had to do it. In this scenario, you don't. Your $18,000 is guaranteed. The annuity income is still going to be flowing. You might decide to tighten your belt and not touch your investment, giving a chance for the market to recover because your basic standard of living is already covered. So, because of market crash, you don't have any money for fun stuff, but your basic standard of living is covered: food, utilities, everything else. Now, let's say you still want to have a full $25,000 of income for the year. You're already getting 18,000. So, from the annuity, you only need about $7,000 to be pulled out of your portfolio. So, you sell some of your shares from the $200,000 and you end up with about $193,000. Comparing this to scenario one, where you ended the year with a rapidly shrinking pot of money, in the hybrid scenario, you ended with $193,000 out of $250,000 and a contractual promise of $18,000 for the rest of your life, where the psychological difference is going to be night and day because you only lost about well, no, we said 250. Yeah, you only lost like $57,000 instead of losing like 30%. Now, the annuity is going to act as a buffer, more of a shock absorber. Because of your essential needs being met, you're not forced to sell your mutual funds. And at the worst possible time, you're not having to make that sacrifice. This is going to dramatically reduce a sequence of return risks. Because, if your standard of living is covered, the market is garbage. You don't have to sell. But then what if you needed 30 grand for the roof? Easy. You can sell for the roof, but you don't have to sell for the party. You don't have to sell for the basic standard of living, which allows you to wait another year and then get. This is going to free up the mutual fund to do its job, which is going to be focusing on long term growth. This approach is going to give you the best of both worlds and the security of an annuity and the growth potential of a mutual fund. You don't have to eliminate the risk, but you have managed it intelligently. Now, let's get into a fine print because the difference is going to be in fees. Liquidity and taxes aren't minor details, they can have a huge impact on your money. So, nothing in finance is going to be free. It's critical to know how and what you're going to be paying. A mutual fund fee, the great thing here is that their funds and fees is transparent. The main cost is the expense ratio, an annual percentage of your investment that clearly is stated for you to see. So for a simple index fund, this fee can be incredibly low, often at 0.1%. For actively managed funds, you might pay 0.5% to 1% or more, but the small percentage compounds over time. So it's important to pay attention to whatever you're agreeing to. An annuity fee, that can be much harder to see. because for a simple immediate income annuity, like the one in our example, there are no explicit annual fees, meaning they're not actually stated until you go to collect the money. So the cost is going to be built into the payout rate, and it's going to be the spread where the insurance company earns between its investment and what it pays you. So for more complex products like variable or index annuities, the fee becomes layered and much more expensive. So you might see like a mutuality and expense M&E charge to cover the insurance guarantee, typically 0.5% to 1.5% annually. An administration fee, which is a flat fee for record keeping. Sub-account fees, which is variable annuities that hold investments that look just like mutual funds, and they each have their own expense ratio. A rider fee. This is going to be a big one. The extra features like guaranteed withdrawal benefits or inflation protection costs, often another 0.75% to 1.5% each year. Each one of those per year. It's not uncommon for a complex variable annuity with a few riders to have all in an annual cost of 2 to 4%, creating a very high bar for your investments to clear. Because if you're trying to cover the cost of 4% payouts to somebody else, you're looking at trying to produce 15% return so that you have 3% inflation with 7% profit. You're looking at hitting closer to 18% return to have that 7% taken out for 3% inflation and 4% taxation and 4% for fees, where you're still looking at close to 6 or 7% that you get. He said, expensive, that can be easily avoided. Yeah, by doing it yourself. If you got to pay for convenience. If you did it yourself, you're not paying somebody else to do it for you because all of the stocks that's going across the top of the screen are stocks that you could be following yourself. If you get that Stash App account that I told you guys about, you could be looking at your own stocks. You can set up the drip account where it automatically reinvests the money for you. You can set your bank account to do automatic deposits to your brokerage account or set your brokerage account to do automatic withdrawals from your bank account where the money will automatically go direct deposit into your bank account, direct deposit into your brokerage account, automatically drip into whatever stocks that you wanted to drip into, and you don't got to do nothing. Then, when it's time for you to retire and you want your money back, you can turn off the drip account on certain ones and collect the money from them and drop them directly into your bank account. Where once a month, you're like, hey, let me send myself some money for next month. And by the end of the month, you got it. Because typically, if you're trading with ETFs through Stash App, you can get the money within 2 to 3 days. Unless it's a weekend holiday combo, drop your money on Friday, get it by Tuesday or Wednesday. And if you're doing that this month in March for April, where April's already paid for, you're just getting it so you can have spending money. It doesn't matter if it takes 3 days. Now, mutual funds. As we said, those mutual funds are going to be highly liquid. You can sell your shares on any business day and usually get your money in a day or two. This offers fantastic flexibility. Annuities are designed to be illiquid, meaning you can't get your money back instantly. That's going to be a key drawback. Once you hand over your money for an immediate income annuity, that capital is generally locked up for a good exchange for the income. For deferred annuities, you'll face hefty surrender charges if you try to pull your money back, which are the penalties that we warn you about when you're trying to rush to get your money back early, which can last for 5 to 15 years. That's going to be a lack of illiquidity that isn't a bug in the system. It is a feature that allows the long term guarantees to work. Now, the tax rules for these products are wildly different. So let's focus on money held in regular taxable accounts, not an IRA, not a 401k, where all withdrawals are generally taxed as ordinary income anyway. Mutual funds, taxable accounts. As your fund operates, it can generate taxable events. Funds have to distribute capital gains and dividends to you each year, and you'll owe taxes on that money. So when you sell your shares, any profits is taxed as capital gain. If you held them for more than a year, you get to pay a lower long-term capital gains rate, which is a big advantage. But you could have did it yourself and not had to pay somebody to do it for you. Annuities, not qualified. A key selling point for annuities is that it is guaranteedly tax deferred on its growth. Like an IRA, that earnings inside grow without you having to pay taxes on it each year. However, the bill comes due eventually because you're still going to get taxed on it at some point. So when you take money out, the gains are taxed as ordinary income, not capital gains. Ordinary income tax rates are much higher for most people. Withdrawals are treated as LIFO, which is last in, first out. That's one of the biggest concerns that I had when my buddy was telling me about what was that real estate lambda. It's a real estate investment app where you can put up as much money as you want to put up, and after a year or 2 years, the money that you get your money back without any penalties, minus the withdrawal fee. And the problem with that particular app is that it treats your money as last in, first out. So even if you've been putting up money every month for the last 10 years, if you want to take out, if you were putting up $250 a month for the last 10 years, if you want to take out $2,500, the last 10 months worth of money that you put up that was not put up more than 2 years ago, you're going to pay a hefty penalty on because last in, first out is going to be what they're going to give you. That's going to mean that your taxable growth must come out of the first quantity of money that you put in before it can get from your tax free money from the original principal from 10, 15, 20 years ago. The money that you just put in is going to get taxed before it touches your tax free money. So when you start receiving regular annuity payments, part of each month is a tax free return of your original premium, and the rest is taxable ordinary income. And this is going to be called an exclusion ratio. While this spreads out the tax bill, you can't escape the fact that all of your growth is ultimately taxed at a higher rate than it would have been in a mutual fund. The tax trade off is that mutual funds are less efficient while you hold the money, but the gains are going to be taxed at a favorable rate. Annuities offer powerful tax deferrals, but the growth is ultimately taxed at a less favorable rate. So you're going to get hit with more taxes. So after all that, who should be using which tool? Well, the decision is really going to come down to your financial situation. Your comfort with risk is also going to play a role in that. And what you want out of your retirement is going to be the most important thing in this particular discussion. A mutual fund is likely your primary tool if and only if you are still saving for retirement. If you are in your working years, your main goal is going to be growth. Mutual funds, especially stock funds, are the undisputed engine for long term wealth building. If you're not going to just do this, the core satellite portfolio that I told you about, you'll prioritize your liquidity. You're going to prioritize your liquidity and the control over your money, all of your assets. If the thought of locking up your money for long terms makes you nervous, mutual funds gives you the flexibility to access your cash when you want it after a certain period of time. Your primary goal is leaving a legacy here full of value, where a mutual fund is passing to your heirs, making it a better tool for wealth transfer than a life only annuity. So you have a higher tolerance for risk and long term horizons. If you can stomach the market swings without panic selling, the risk profile of a mutual fund is going to be a good fit for you. An annuity is going to become a critical tool if and only if you are near or in retirement, like Michael. So, Stephen, you might benefit from a mutual fund. Michael would benefit for an annuity, and you need a reliable income. This is going to be the number one reason to buy the annuity. It's the ability to turn a lump sum of cash that you already got on your person into a guaranteed paycheck for the remainder of your life that is unique as a superpower. Your biggest fear is outliving your savings. An annuity is the only financial product that can contractually solve the problem of longevity risk. You want to protect your portfolio from sequence of returns risk. As our case studies have shown, an annuity that creates an income floor can shield your investments from being wrecked by the early market downturns. You're a conservative investor who wants a peace of mind. The psychological benefits of knowing your essential bills are covered no matter what. That is going to be a huge benefit for you. It can prevent you from making with the rest of your portfolio. You don't have heirs or you've already provided for them. If you are a single person or a couple whose kids are already set, the legacy risk of a lifestyle only annuity isn't a concern. So you can maximize your life income without worrying about what's left. Now, the hybrid approach, this is going to be the solution for most retirees. Now, before I get into this, because my battery is low, let me go ahead and change these batteries. I'm telling y'all, I be working the system here. These are like $22 a piece. The button. There we go. All right. I got these off of Temu for like $22 a piece. And it's like I charge it and I use it all day. And I got two of them because I don't plug them up on a regular basis. And I'm like, well, it lasts like well, technically it lasts all night because the one that I just took off is the one that I put on in last night's show. Didn't plug it in. And the one I just put on is the one that I took off last night's show because the battery died. But if I would have plugged them both in, it would have lasted me the entire show. It does last like 4 to 8 hours of talk time. I've been on this computer talking all day, but it was the best investment that I've ever gotten. Now, uh, the hybrid approach. As you can probably guess by now, for most people entering in retirement, the best strategy isn't either or, it's going to be both and. So the annuity versus mutual fund debate is going to be a false choice to end up with in the first place. You got to get both or don't get either one of them because it's not going to benefit you for the overall fixture of your life if you don't have everything you need in all the right places. So the most resilient retirement plan is going to be to use both tools for specific jobs that each one was designed for uniquely. So you want to think of it like building a house. You use the concrete for solid, unshakable foundation that your annuity is going to be utilizing for, providing the income floor to cover your basic needs. Then you're going to use the wood, steel, and glass to build the rest of your house, and that's going to be the living space and the windows with the view. And that's your mutual fund portfolio, providing the growth, liquidity, and flexibility to fund your lifestyle and your legacy, right? By combining them, you get the security of guaranteed income and the potential for long term growth. Now, you manage the biggest risks of both products while harnessing their greatest strengths. Well, one of the things that I'm gonna tell you guys right now, you have to make sure that with all of the benefits that are being offered by these annuities and with all the benefits that are going to be coming from the mutual funds, you have to make sure that you are making more money and interest than what you're spending in order for you to be able to cover your standard of living. If you're going to pay the extra money for the inflation protection, you need to make sure that your mutual fund is going into an area where you're going to guaranteedly get that inflation money. Same thing with the mutual fund. It costs you a little bit more, but if it costs you a little bit more going in, but if you're guaranteed to get the expected values coming out, it's going to offset itself because you do have the ability to claim losses and expenses on your taxes. So there's a lot of stuff that might be deductible, offsetting any taxation that you have to pay off of some of the stuff. So it's not like it's a total loss, but it is compromising. You just have to be prepared for it. So circling back to where we started, annuities versus mutual funds. As you've seen, that's going to be the wrong way to frame this. It's never been about which one is better. It's always been about which one is the right tool for the right job. A mutual fund is going to be a tool for accumulation. You hire it to grow your wealth. Annuities is a tool for distribution. You hire it to turn that wealth into a guaranteed personal pension that can last for the rest of your life. The marketing has created a false war between the two products that are really natural allies. For most people, the most reliant, stress free retirement will be building not one or the other, but both on an intelligent combination. You use the annuity to build the foundation of security, and you use the mutual fund to build the framework for growth. It's not about choosing safety over growth, it is about creating a plan that delivers safety along with growth. Now, after all of that we went through, I'm curious to hear from you guys because I already know me and Michael have the same thought process. Fuck that. We're just going to pay for our own brokerage account and run the wave. And by the time we get too old to manage the account, we should be in the right spot. We should have been able to make enough money to put it into a trust and tell the trustee to keep doing what we was doing so that we ain't got to do it no more. Right. But I want to hear from you guys. Have you wrestled with this decision before, and have you used one of these products or both of the products in your own retirement plan? Let us know in the comments. I definitely take a look at all the comment sections at some point in time, and I check all of the ones on all of the platforms. Make sure that you find the opportunity to share your experiences because it's going to be incredibly valuable for the individuals who have not done it yet. And finally, if you're trying to figure out how to structure your own assets and retirement, I know the choices can feel overwhelming. If you guys want to get started, you're going to see I'm going to be putting together a retirement readiness checklist that walks you through the key questions that you need to ask yourself. And that's going to be going into the membership. So if you ever go to the membership, you can go and grab one for yourself. Um, Beyond that, you guys have to make sure that you spend wisely for your future. And I really hope that this guy brings you guys some clarity and some confidence into some of the things that you're going to be doing. He said, I will use Stash App and Vanguard. There you go. There you go. You can grab Vanguard because uh Vanguard, if you use Vanguard for I think the mutual fund so that you have all the extra money that you need, because I said Vanguard and Fidelity, you can use Vanguard and get the guaranteed payout and then use Stash App to operate your brokerage account instead of using the annuities and have less interest rates on your stuff because Stash App is a fixed amount of $3 a month for 36 dollars a year, but they give you a discount to like $32 a year if you pay a one-time fee, and that's guaranteed no matter how much you invest. And if you put it all in the right spot, you do your research, you grab the 15 that you want to 15 or 20 shares or not shares, but 15 or 20 different ETFs that you want to have. And then you just put whatever you want to put into each one based on their interest rates that it's producing at the time. If it goes down, invest into it. Then when it goes up, you got growth and you got dividends. And that's like the best way to operate it. So you have a guaranteed fixed rate from your Vanguard, and then you have your dividends. Where if you're using dividend stocks, you don't have to sell nothing. You can just keep building it, and then you take your dividend stocks and you just spend it on whatever you want to spend it on. You know, and and for me, my personal observation is that I'm going to be like mass growing this brokerage account so that once I get more than enough dividends, I can use the dividends somewhere else where I can pay myself the dividends and invest it into something else or borrow against, like I said, get a line of credit against the brokerage account and buy something else. Go into real estate, expand into gold or silver, Bitcoin, whatever, where the loan against the asset will pay for whatever it is I'm trying to invest in, and then the dividends will pay for the loan so that I don't have to pay taxation on the dividends. That's how the billionaires do it. So I said, well, fuck, I'm going to do it the same way the billionaires do it. And Donald Trump made a bunch of decisions that affects the 1%. So what do I want to do? Become the 1%. I want to become a one percenter. That's the best way to get it done. And once I start falling into the one percenter position, what else do? I start voting Republican. Why? Because it benefits me now because I'm making more money. I don't want to be in a position where I'm spending more money as a Republican voting get Democrat, but I also don't want to be in the position where I'm spending more money as a Democrat voting Republican. And you clearly know where you fall. If you're making more than $75,000 a year, you might benefit from voting Republican. But if you're making less than $75,000 a year, you'll benefit from voting Democrat. Doesn't really matter what the policies are. Democrats put money back into the pockets of the people that make less than 75,000 a year, and Republicans put money back into the pockets of people that make more than 168,000 a year. That's pretty much where it is. That's pretty much where it is. High earners that are getting tax deference or reduced taxation on high brokerage accounts or people that are $200,000 or more. You look at the $0 interest rates on up to $65,000 of money that's sitting still in a brokerage account. If that $65,000 is coming to you from a 10% brokerage account, that's $650,000 that's paying you 10%. That is not coming from a $30,000 a year income. That's not coming from a $50,000 a year income. That's coming from somebody that's got 60% of $1 million sitting in a brokerage account and they're getting paid 10%, right? S&P 500 or whatever. So you got to think about this. Put your vote where your money is. Make financial decisions that benefit you. Do not waste unnecessarily. Buy what you need, not what you want. Live a modest life, build your wealth, and then buy everything you wanted with the extra money that you got left over. Because when you're 70 and 80 years old, every day is your last day. That's when you YOLO. That's when you're balling out of control. That's when you're $100,000 in one night because you sitting on it. You sitting on it. If you're not trying to build a legacy, you got a couple $1 million sitting there, and you're planning on stretching that over the course of 30 years, and you're at 72. It's easy to spend $200,000 or $300,000 a year for 30 years when you got $1 million. You know, but it's hard to do that when you're 50 years old. It's hard to do that when you're 65 years old. You could potentially have 45 more years left, you know? And the other side, because we talk about health savings account, the other side of it is that um any quantity of money you got left over is going to be covering some of your medical expenses. So if you're going to be doing international traveling, passport bros, you're going to have you in a international health insurance policy, which means that you're going to have to find yourself probably one of the best health insurance coverages that you can afford to get. And if you're making a shit ton more money, you're going to be getting a better coverage, which means you're going to have chiropractors, acupuncture, full body massages with happy endings. Yeah. There's so many things that you got to plan for, and that stuff costs money. In 20 years, these glasses are going to be costing $2,000 a pair. Got to put money aside for it. They're already $850 a pair right now. That got to put money aside for it. It's got to be factored into the budget, especially if I'm getting new ones every year. You got to factor them into the budget, right? So, with that being said, I'm going to tell y'all, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking y'all to make it make sense. And fellas, I give y'all this information to make y'all higher value men, not just by building your wealth, but by improving your decision making skills. You guys have to find a way to uh, pay attention to the things that are inside of your control, make changes in the things that you don't like, and then navigate around the things that are outside of your control. Ladies, while this is a male driven podcast from the male perspective, you too can take the information that I'm giving you and make yourselves higher value women. As I've been telling everybody, think about where you want to be at in 20, 30, 40 years. Figure out your 20-year plan. Reverse engineer that plan to today. What's the first steps you need to do? Proactively start putting forth the effort to get there. Keep your eyes and ears open as you move along your life. And if you find a potential suitor that blends in with your 20-year plan that aids you in improving your ability to achieve your goals, that is the partner for you. Two people can reach $1 million faster than one, as long as y'all working together. Live modestly, invest heavily, and have the best future that you could ever set for yourself and your legacy. Now, that's all I got for you guys for tonight. We got a lot of stuff coming up because tomorrow we're going to be talking about Cuba. I already put everything up there for us, so I'm ready for tomorrow night's show. Um, I got to get some. I'm going to be getting this information up over the next week, probably over this weekend. I'm going to be putting a lot of stuff into the memberships because I got 3 or 4 different walkthroughs that I got to give you guys into the membership. But it's going in there over the next week or two so that y'all can see all of the stuff that I'm talking about. Remember, next week, Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the dividend rotation strategy and all the stocks that we need to pay attention to for April and May so that we can see when we need to invest and what we're watching because we're watching the 50 something stocks and dividend rotation platform so that you guys can know where to put your money and be able to get that growth that you need. Now, um, yeah, beyond that, I'm gonna double check and make sure to see if they settled the DHS thing. I just heard today that Donald Trump is talking about negotiations over the next 24 hours. If they get the negotiations, the bombing might end sooner than we thought. I was putting the bombings out till June, but it looks like they might wrap things up over the next couple of weeks if Iran agrees with the terms and conditions. So I'm gonna be giving you guys some updated information about that, separate and apart from the rest of the shows we got going on for the rest of the week, and giving you guys updates about whether or not they fixed that DHS thing. Um, Beyond that, that's all I got for you guys. So I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that. I'm your host Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I will see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground! Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command.